All right, guys. So I have my student Chad here. Chad has come a very long way inside Creators University. He's had no handouts, no advantages. He came in no different than anyone else, and now he's crushing it pretty hard. And I know he's still got a long way to go. And so today, really just want to hear from Chad and how he's been able to succeed in the program, and talk about some of his key takeaways and what he's learned since he joined the program. So Chad, I'll kind of give you the floor. How long have you been in the program now? Probably about a year, I want to say.
Not even that. I joined like December last year. So
Okay, so not even a full year.
not even
Remind me where you were at when you had just joined with us, and what kind of inspired you to join the program.
Yeah, cool. So where I was at when I joined was like at the end of my rope. I was about to go and like quit again. I'd been trying to do video as a business for maybe 3 or 4 years, and twice in that journey I'd given up and got a day job because it was just hard. It was a slog. So when I found you on Instagram, I was kind of at that same point, and I was like, I either give it one last go or I just can it all together. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give this course a go. If it doesn't work, I've tried everything I possibly can. I'm just going to move on to something else in my life. But like, I remember a couple of months before I joined the course, I was like selling gear because we're about to build a house, and I was like, we were short a little bit on like our down payment and stuff. So like, it wasn't going particularly well at all. I was getting work, but it just wasn't getting paid anywhere near what I needed to get paid to actually survive. And so, yeah, it was like kind of my last try. So I was like, what can go wrong here, really? Maybe if it doesn't work, I waste a bit more money, but at least I tried. So that's where I was at.
You basically just went all in. You were just like, last attempt.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I've tried everything. This course and
Yeah.
this guy seems somewhat legit. Like, let's just go for it and see what happens. This is the last attempt.
100%. And even at that point, like, we were pretty stressed financially. So I didn't tell my wife I was doing it, because
I don't even know if I knew that.
yeah, I was like,
it paid off, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just going to do this. And if it goes bad, I will work that out later. So I signed up for the course, and then I told her, like, I was in the course. I'm like, I've signed up for this thing. And then kind of said, she didn't really question it either. So I think she was like, okay, well, same thing. Just give it one more go. If it doesn't work, let's just get on to something else in life. But yeah, and when I first joined, it was really cool to have all this information laid out, like all these processes, and just like, I had none of that. Like, I had no process for anything. I was just like in that mindset of like, oh, I just want to make cool videos and get paid for it. But I just had no idea how to do that. I had no idea how to talk to a client. I had no real idea on how to go and find clients, or even find the right clients. Like, that was a huge thing for me, like learning how to look for clients that are going to suit what you want to do and what they want. Yeah, so that was cool. Like, and just sat there, me and my wife went through the course material. Like, that first week we just went through it, and we're just like, yeah, this is awesome. And just like learning heaps. But then I kind of, because this was like right before Christmas, and the idea was that I would start to work on this and build it up, and then hopefully eventually my wife could quit her job because she wasn't enjoying her job. And right before Christmas, she was like, I'm just quitting. So I was like a couple of weeks into the course, and she's like, I have to quit my job. And I was like, okay, cool. just
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then over the Christmas break, I was like, oh crap, what have I done? Like, I thought I wasn't thinking well about it. I'm like, this is going to work. Like, I just got this really bad mindset about everything. I'm like, people do not want to pay for this. And it wasn't until I started changing my mindset about everything and like really thinking that this can work and thinking more positive about it. And there is some stuff about mindset in the course, like it was really good, but it's one thing to like listen about mindset and then actually go, okay, I need to change it. Like it's a whole nother thing. But as soon as I changed my mindset, things just went bang. Like things took off so quick. And it was changing my mindset, but then having all those skills that are in the course, like, and implementing it from there. I just started implementing the strategies and everything. And I was like, just, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to work. And then as soon as I booked that first 10K job, that was like the clincher. It's like, it is working. It's not, this is going to work anymore. It's like, it is working. So let's just keep doing it. And yeah, just kept going up and up and just getting better and better. And yeah, still a fair way to go, but just, yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, you see these videos, like I watched one of these kind of videos, and that's what made me want to sign up to the course, because I was listening to someone's story and I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but this is like best case scenario. This person is like one of like picked best case scenario. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can make $5,000 a month. And like, that would be enough to justify doing the course if I can make $5,000 a month. I'm like, that's, you know, that'd be cool to be out coming from not being able to make that, or being able to make $5,000 a month, but doing like 10 projects to get to that. That's kind of where I was at before. So I was just like overworking and all that. And yeah, so that was kind of my mindset going in. I just want to make $5,000. And as soon as I made that first $5,000, I was like, oh, right, okay, I need to go bigger. Like I need to see how far I can get this. And yeah, just kept going from that. And I was just blown away. I was like, there's 100% nothing special about me. Like I am not particularly smart, or like I didn't have like a super great education. Like I dropped out of high school. I've always just known that I wanted to work for myself, but I've never known how to do it. So, you know, and definitely I would say I was disadvantaged in a way. Like I live in a small town. There's not a whole lot of work around here. So I thought that, you know, I wouldn't get those big numbers. I'm like, it's probably not possible around here, but if I can get this like base of, you know, just doing the $5,000, that will be all good. But I just, yeah, it's just exceeded my expectations, what actually is possible.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, we hear that narrative all the time. It's like people, you know, join the program and we tell them like, we're like, dude, you got 10K a month, like minimum. That's going to be the baseline goal. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, yeah, like, okay. And then on these types of, you know, talks and interviews with successful students, they're like, in my head, I was like, didn't even believe you guys, and was like, even if I could do half that, 5K a month, I'd be stoked. And then I started doing 10, and then it clicked, and I was like, oh, okay, like I can do it. So it's like a lot of our job as well is seeing in people what they don't see in themselves yet. And we saw that potential in you. And so that's why we invited you to the program. And then from there, it's like the strategies and all that stuff, it's important. But the mindset, like you said, believing that you can do it is what's really going to allow you to break through and make it happen. Because most people self-sabotage themselves and their success before they even start or even give themselves, you know, an attempt to do it. They might have a 10K deal laying right in front of them, and they charge 2K because they just don't think that they're worth 10K. And so that's, of course, the benefit of having a community and being surrounded by all the students we have in the program that are closing 10, 15, 20 plus K deals, making 30K a month. It's like you surround yourself with that, and eventually you believe it. And then you're like, then you do it, and then you really believe it, and then it's game on. So now it's game on for you.
Yeah.
I had a follow-up question for something you said earlier though. So you said the biggest shift for you to be able to start booking these 10K plus deals was mindset stuff. Do you mind sharing some of the mindset switches and shifts that you've had? Because I know someone might be watching this and they might be thinking that.
Yeah. So the biggest issue I had was I'm I'm not like, my kind of personality and my like values are to be genuine with people and not take advantage of people, and I don't want to rip people off either. So I had this real like issue around, like, I'd sit there and I go, video isn't valuable for businesses. I'm like, oh, maybe some people, but like these people, it's not valuable. And I had this whole like internal battle of like what I'm doing. If I'm going to charge $5,000 for a video, like they need to get something out of it. So I had to get past that first and get to a point where I'm like, okay, actually it is valuable. And people can pay for it. Like, that was real tough. And then there was, yeah, the whole other issue of seeing wealth instead of like scarcity. So like one thing that I had to do was actually, I spent an afternoon driving around the town where I live, and I just went and looked at all the businesses I could look at. And I was like, oh, there is money here. Like there is big money here. Even though this is a small kind of rural town, people are making money, like, and I can make money. And it just took a while to shift those kind of things. But yeah, like realizing that I could offer value was probably the biggest one, because if I couldn't offer value, I felt like I was a fraud and I was just taking people's money and giving them nothing. So, and after doing a project with a builder where I did a client testimonial for him, and I watched it back and I was like, I actually want to build a house with this builder now, because like the video was like, their story was so good. And I was like, okay, this is valuable. This one video will 100% book that builder at least one job. And if he only ever books one job out of it, he's still made money. So that is value. So yeah, there was a lot of work around that, and a lot of like imposter syndrome that I had to like overcome. Like I thought I had to be the best videographer or filmmaker to actually make money. And if you weren't like producing super high quality, you didn't offer any value. When I shifted my mindset away from that, then things changed as well. Like I'm by no means, out of anyone in the course, I wouldn't rate myself as one of the best videographers in there, and I'm okay with that. Yeah,
Definitely
like,
not.
I've learned that you can offer value in other ways. It's not just a polished product. You offer value in so many different ways for a client, and that can be simple things like saving them time and frustration, and those kind of things. It's not just the end product in the end that gives the value. So, and I constantly, daily, just keeping like my mindset in check. I just wake up and think, like, just be grateful for what I've got, and also grateful for what I can get. I think that's important, and just keep focused on like my minimum now is like kind of 10K. When a 5K job comes in, unless it's something I really want to do, I will either say, hey, we can talk like this bigger project, or or I'll kind of politely say that I can't do the job. Because for me now, it's more time efficient trying to book a 10K job than doing a bunch of small 5K jobs.
10 1Ks or 4 2.5, which is what
Yeah.
you before. What were you charging before the program? I'm curious. No shame. We were all there. We were all there at one point.
It varied, but like, when I first started, I was struggling to get like $300 for a brand story video. Like, and that was all because I was focused on the wrong industries, and the course helped me realize that. So yeah, it varied, like maybe up to, I had some regular work that I was getting like maybe $1,000 a project for, but it was like a lot of work. It just wasn't there. Like I did book, before the course, I did book one job that was like 7, but it was like an anomaly. It would just so happen, it was during COVID, and this company couldn't get out to where I was, and like, that just rarely happened. So yeah, around the 1,000 mark was normal. So like in my head then, I was like, geez, I got to book at least 5 of these in a month to make some money, and it just wasn't working. And like it was super scary pitching 10K. But as soon as you get it out of the way, you're just like, God, that's like a relief. And I was, I guess, I don't know if I'd say lucky, but I feel lucky that the first 10K I pitched got booked. And that's when I realized straight up, before even pitching them on the price, there's got to be value for them before you even get to that price. But yeah, and it's just unbelievable where I was, what I was trying to get. And I don't blame people for not wanting to pay me more than $1,000 back when I was doing those jobs, because I had no, like, I didn't know what value I was giving them. So I couldn't communicate that with them, and I couldn't justify getting any more money. But now that I know like what value I can bring and how to communicate that properly with these clients, then I have no issue saying this job's 10, 20 grand, like, because I know what I'm offering and how to show that to them. And I guess they see that and decide, yeah, okay, we'll spend the money.
So good, dude. Amazing. So essentially we helped you justify charging more for projects, understanding the value behind that, giving
Yeah.
you confidence and all the mindset stuff that you needed to be able to go into those pitches with confidence and
Yeah.
pitch those numbers and those prices with conviction and confidence, and even give you the confidence to turn down projects that are pretty much less than 10K now. So you went from charging $1,000 a video for probably a ton of work to now 10K as your minimum. And I'm guessing the 10K projects now are like the same or less amount of work than you were charging for the 1K videos. So such an insane transformation, dude, in relatively a short amount of time. So I'm super, super pumped for you. And I want to ask you a question. I know it's a little bit personal. If you don't want to share, totally fine with me, but I'm curious, where are you kind of at monthly now, like on average, revenue wise?
So I think we're sitting at about 20K a month now. And the goal is to get that to 30. Like, we need to be doing, like, this is something really interesting, actually. When you sit down and you look at numbers and you start to work out how much you need to make in your business just to live the same lifestyle as a friend that's making 100 grand a year, you realize, oh geez, I need to make like heaps more just to get to that level.
Self-employment life.
Yeah. So
taxes and expenses and everything.
Yeah, there's all these things. And so I worked that out. I'm like, okay, we need to make 300 a year. And that was just a goal. And then I was like, well, I only want to work 10 months of the year. So I'm like, okay, 30 grand a month.
Yep.
And for me, it's more the lifestyle, I guess, than the actual end figure. Like, I don't want to just work the whole life away. So that's kind of what drives me more than the money. But yeah, so I'm super confident within 6 months we'll be hitting 30 a month. No issues. Like, I would actually think we'll be, in the next 3 months, we will be hitting those targets and consistently booking them.
Yeah, cool, man. And I know, whoever's watching this is going to be wondering, what kind of work what kind of packages how are you making 20K a month? What kinds of videos are you selling? Who are you selling them to? What's your offer? What's your niche? All that stuff. And then we can kind of wrap this up, because this has been insanely valuable so far. And I find making them just short and sweet is usually the best. So let's talk about that, and then let's kind of wrap up. But so good, dude. I'm so happy for you.
So when I started in the course, I was like, okay, I'll work for anyone, just because I wanted to get those runs under the belt. Then I started, when I did a bit of work for some builders and stuff, I was like, actually, I really enjoy working with these people. So now I focus just pretty much solely on construction. Like, I turned away 3 jobs this week that weren't in.
How's that feel, by the way? To just be able to say no to work. How's that feel?
Say no to 5 grand and know that I'm going to be okay. Like, that's huge for me. Like, I remember so many jobs previously. I took the job and I didn't want to do it. And I was like, I have to take this job because we need the money. But now it's like different. Like, but yeah, so trying to focus on construction industry and basically packaging website kind of packages for clients. So it would be like brand story video, a client testimonial, and like a project overview. They're kind of the areas when someone in construction industry comes to me and says, oh, we want to do something. I say, okay, to get started, you should have brand story, at least 1 or 2 client reviews, and maybe a project overview. So I like the last job I booked for 25 grand. It's 2 videos. It's like 2 specific videos about this certain build these guys do. And it sounds like coming from what I was doing, like 4 videos for $1,000, like that's huge. But the benefit is that I have so much more time and effort to put into that project that I can do it really well for them. Like, it's not like I'm just trying to make money. I'm like, I want to do a good job for them.
The more value you can create and the more money you can make for other people, the more you're going to make yourself.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
It feels better.
Yeah. So yeah, I try and stay away from like creating social media content. I still have a bit of a mindset issue with that and its value, because social media is very like, you scroll and it's gone. I'm like, it's hard for me to say to someone you should spend big money on.
Let's work on that. There's value in it.
I have a job coming up. The reason
you see me posting every day. There's value in it for sure. Let's work through that.
Yeah.
That'll get you to a month.
One of the jobs coming up that I'm about to pitch is they don't actually have a website they have access to because they're part of a franchise. So they're all social media. So it's starting to shift slowly. I was like, oh, okay, for these people, all their value is in their Instagram page. But yeah, so I think like in the construction industry, if they can get a brand story video, a client testimonial, or a project overview, that's kind of where I'm starting with them. And just, trying to do them as good as possible. I don't want to do this whole, hey, let's make 1 million videos for you, and that's where the value is, because that's not actually
5 reels per month or something crazy. Yeah, I hear you.
I don't over offer now just to book a job. Where when I started, I was, because I just needed to get that, like, oh yeah, I can actually do this. But I found straight away you'd offer too much, and then you'd start doing it and you'd be like, oh, okay, this is not worth the money for me. So then the quality kind of drops. So now my mindset
over promise and under deliver. It's better to under promise and over deliver.
Yeah, 100%. And just really put all the effort that you can into those ones that you are delivering. And then, then it's better than what they expected. And it's, sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, I have no idea how I'm doing this. But then I think, no, like, actually, I do know how I'm doing it. Like, I learned all this stuff and I'm just doing it automatically now. I'm not really even thinking, okay, what did I learn for this situation? I'm just doing it and it happens.
That's your new baseline. Your old baseline used to be $300 projects, $1,000 projects. Your new baseline is 10K projects. And that happened because you bet on yourself. You took the risk. I mean, at the beginning of this interview, you broke down how much of a risk and how scary that was. I mean, it was everything, and it was your last chance and everything. But then, like, once you do it, it's easy to like kind of forget where you came from, I've found. And I know you mentioned earlier, kind of appreciating where you're at, and you're very humble, and that's something that you always want to, stay close with, and just be have gratitude and all that kind of stuff. It's, hard to do. You have to remind yourself it's a practice, but the more grateful you can be, the better off you're gonna do. You're gonna make more money, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna help more people, and all that good stuff. And you're super humble. So last question for you, dude. This has already been super valuable. Very last question. Is there any last bit of advice that you would give to anyone who might be in a similar situation to where you were 12 months ago? Or what would you tell your past self 12 months ago that you didn't know then that you know now?
Yeah, so like I would say, if you're like in that position where you're kind of like where I was, not making any money, and you're not going anywhere, like everything you've learned to that point has been of no use to you. Like you need to relearn everything, and there is a way to do it there, and anyone can do it. Like, and I know you hear people say that a lot, like, oh, anyone can do this, but you don't have to be special. You just have to be willing to like learn it. And even some people get handed the information and they don't action it. Like, once you get that information, you just got to do the work. But yeah, I think you gotta take that risk, and you just got to do it. Like, I don't know, it's hard, but there, it's easy to think, oh, that person is like, they're lucky, or they don't understand my situation. They're a different situation from me. Oh, I've got kids and a family. I can never go do that. Like, I've got kids and a family and a mortgage, and I did it, and a lot quicker than I thought. So all those things that are holding you down are just like your belief around your situation. When you just let go of all that and just go, okay, let's do it, then it all starts to work. I think the mindset thing is the biggest thing. Like, just going, that is something I'm telling myself, that is something that's not true, and that is something that's holding me back. And when you start to identify those, and then that's one part. So you identify it, then get this information on how to achieve that stuff. Then it can happen so quick. Like, it can turn your life around in, like, for me, like 6 months, changed my life. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, so good, dude. That's the difference between successful and unsuccessful people. Successful people, they justify and tell themselves reasons as to why they can. Unsuccessful people justify and tell them reasons as to why they can't. There's a million reasons why you can't. There's also a million reasons why you can. So which route do you want to go? And you're a perfect example of someone who made excuses, or not excuses, but you told yourself, here's what I'm going to focus on so that this does happen. I'm not going to focus on all the reasons as to why this can't or doesn't happen, because family, mortgage, kids, all that stuff, those are all very valid reasons as to why it might be harder for you. But there's a ton of other successful people who have that same thing and they still succeeded.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty much the people who end up joining the program, are those who can get over that hurdle. You know, maybe they realize it on their own, maybe we help them realize it. But that's such a key switch, and I'm really glad you ended with that, because like I said, there's a million reasons as to why, you know, anyone could get hung up and not succeed, but there's also a million reasons that you can succeed. So which way to go? And you said, I want to succeed. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah. And it's like that kind of, when you're learning to drive a car and someone tells you, if you stare at that tree, you're going to hit that tree. And that's the same thing. If you constantly look at the negatives, you're only ever going to see the negatives. But when you start to like look at the positives and the potential, that's all you end up seeing. Like, I don't walk around anymore being like, oh, this is hard. Like, there's no one here to get work from. I just walk around going, there's money, there's potential there. Like, I can do that. I can, like, it's just a total different mind shift. And yeah, that's what's going to get you there in the end, for sure.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks for your time today, Chad. This is really valuable for so many people that are watching this, I'm sure. Super inspiring, and it's really rewarding for me to see how much you've benefited from the program. This is why I do what I do. This is my second similar call of this type today. So I'm just feeling really, really fulfilled, really happy. And I'm so glad I can help, you know, you guys bring this change in your life. So appreciate your time. Let's keep crushing it. Let's do 30K plus months. It's around the corner. And keep crushing it, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.